To add the acromion and the spinous process, I'm going to create a cube again, and I'll manipulate that cube. Now again, my manipulator is now oriented to the last way I did it, so I'm going to change that to world. So I make a long, and I'm going to bring that up and orientate it. And now I do want it to be, actually I'm going to leave it like it is. So I'm going to add this portion of the acromion later with an extrusion. And to help me remember to do that, what I'm going to do is actually go back to my polygon menu set and insert an edge loop right about there. Go to the medial end of my cube, and let's scale that face smaller because there's a very small edge there. I'm going to have to orient it to an edge. Okay, and then I'm also going to move it, orientate that to the world and move it anteriorly. So we're kind of mimicking what you see here. Okay. So with that, I'm going to grab the face here and extrude that face. And I'm going to use this window to help me. Ooh, man. Bring it down. Got to manipulate it, rotate it so it's in the middle there. And bring it, whoops. And then bring it anteriorly. G for extrude again. G for extrude again. I don't want it to be quite that. Thick. And then G to extrude one last time. Okay. So let's see what we can do with what we made. Alright, so we've got something close to what we want. Let's see if we grab the whole object and move it around a little bit. Pretty close to what I want. So I want to get this face onto this face. And when I look at it, I can see right away I've got more faces here. So let's see if I can first manipulate this a little bit. So that I can get that edge. To line up along that edge. And I think all I want it to do is get to about there. So if you look at the top view, you can see it starts really right opposite the base of the coracoid there. So my coracoid is there. So I'm going to need, one thing I'm going to do, I don't quite think there's this bulge the way I've left it. I'm going to move this in just a little bit. Okay, so I want that edge there, but I need another, I need a division here. So I'm going to create, I'm going to go back and say insert edge loop. And now I should have roughly the same number of faces between there and there. This edge I'm going to bring down. So it's a little closer to the thickness it is. Maybe I'll actually rotate a little bit so it matches what's going on here. Grab this face on the front and move it up a little bit and closer. Let's get that other face. Move it. Let's take them both and rotate them. Okay, now I'm going to delete those two faces. And I'm going to delete this face and this face. Then I'm going to select the two objects, the blade, if you will, and the spinous acromion complex. Go under edit mesh tools rather, and say, well, first I have to go under mesh, say combine, and now I'm going to say bridge. Whoops, got to select the edges I want it to bridge. Right mouse edge, double click, and you can see now I've got those matching edges, so theoretically it should work now. And it did. There we go. Okay. Looks like I got a little twisted down here at this end. I'm going to do that. So let's try instead doing the append polygon tool. Now I've done that before where it has worked fine with the bridge, so I would encourage you, go ahead, try the bridge first. If it doesn't work, then you can use this method. Obviously this is a little slower, but it seems to get the message there. Not sure why that looks quite like that. We'll have to look at that and make sure everything's kosher. One thing that made this very difficult is that this is really way too far out. Okay, so one thing I want to do is take this face and that face and move them. Actually, I'll take that face too and move them in. Take that face as well. Okay, now what we can do is take these faces, grab the edge here, So this, where the medial margin of the spine is pretty close. In other words, it really starts very close to the something over here is giving me a hard time. Okay, that's okay. Bring that in. So bring these edges laterally, if you will, so they are not sticking out past the end. There we go. So that's going to go out to there. Okay. And this one can come back out and go closer to it. And this one can come back out. This edge has to come out. So what I'm trying to do is get these edges to form this arc here. See this edge right here is how close they are. So this edge can go out to there. This edge can go out to there. Okay, so we kind of get that. Now, one of this, you can see this is really bad here. So what can we do? Let's take this edge, move it in, and rotate it. And let's take the whole edge. Let's see if we can rotate it a little bit. There we go. Now from the other end, we've got the same dilemma. This edge, I think we can see this up here. Yep. You can see where that edge should be on that line. That edge is pretty close, so we want to go right off that edge. Now what's going on right here? So I need something to get me back out there. So I think I need this face to move and rotate a little bit in that direction. There we go, there we go, a little more. That shape, that means this edge though. Just to move over. And this edge needs to rotate a little bit. I think these vertices are going to have to move. Let's see how that looks. Take this face here. Move it. Excuse me. Move it. Okay. Rotate a little bit. So we're starting to get that arch. Now what I'm doing is just manipulating some of these faces and edges from the blade portion, just to help make that groove we need. This needs to go. This edge, I think, needs to get smaller. Okay, because there isn't really that big significant. Okay, now we're here. Still need to get that edge down to make the gutter, if you will, not sure what word you want to use, the concavity there, that's got to house the supraspinatus. Okay, now when I do that, I've got a mess I made over here, and I got to fix this somehow. There we go. Not sure what I'm doing with that, so I better look. Yeah, it's not quite what I want. So I know this is pretty thin down here. This edge has to go deeper as well. And the other side, don't forget, you've got to have an area and a space for the infraspinatus. So you want to get this wall pretty thin. Just make sure the hard part is not to poke through. So that you see one, I see like right here I poke through. I've got these two. Okay, there we go. So you get the idea that this edge is here and then there. One thing I'd like to do is just exaggerate a little more this curve. Let's see, let's undo that. I stay consistent with that, but how can I get that curve more? Maybe what I can do is pull this edge out. That's better. There we go. Alright, now we've got these other points to make. What the heck I do there? Let me undo that. That didn't work well. Okay. I don't think I want this edge quite so twisted. I think that's a better orientation for it. Okay. Here we go. Alright, when I do that, of course, I mess something else up. What happened down here? There we go. Take this. So I'm going to extrude this face now to make, gosh darn it, extrude this face to make that anterior projection. It's a little big, so we'll scale it. Rotate, okay. So really the most important point, as far as I'm concerned, about this piece is this face right here. Because this face is going to have to articulate with the clavicle. Now you can see in the diagram, or in the photograph rather, this does in fact go above the glenoid fossa, which is the way you would illustrate it. So I want to make sure I've got it there. I'm going to take this edge and move that out. It looks like what I'm going to need to do is something as far as getting these edges in there. I think what I'll do, oh, this edge has gotten very twisted here. So I'm just trying to make some last minute adjustments for some last adjustments here. I'm trying to figure out where I'm actually, what I need to do. It looks like I need to pull in here a little bit. I've got this edge. So what's happening is I'm getting the edges, you know, below. Okay, so I'm getting the edges down here from the that mask. I don't want this to be punched up like that, so I've got to bring that down and rotate it a little bit. Maybe move it out a little more. I think I'll scale that a little smaller too. Okay, but it's right here. I need to, basically I'm just too wide here. So let's see if I can insert an edge loop there. And you know, edge loop off because I'm on there. Okay. But if I take, instead of doing an edge loop, what if I just take this edge? I'm hesitant to do edge loops at this point only because it's going to add a lot more geometry. I don't want to really add more geometry. I want to modify as much as possible. I'm trying to think, what is that thing? Okay, see, that edge is that I'm thinking it's blocking me. It's not. It's way down there. So it's where it should be. So I'm okay. All right, so that's pretty, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape there. That's basically what I want. I've got a little adjustment to do here. This has gotten a little too thin and too and remember this is, you know, sliding in from the side, so I think I can take this one and slide it a little further laterally even. Something like that. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I'll just try to make sure this black area here is actually what I want. I'm going to scale that a little shorter. And then see what the consequences of that was here. Okay. So now I have that trough. A little concerned that that line, that edge looks like it's coming through, so I'm going to lower it a little bit. And I think this is going to be actually a little thicker there. Okay.